Me to discuss that issue with me is Mr. Jalil Dabdoub. I must tell you that this family are of Palestinian origin, although they were born in Jamaica. Their forefathers, their grandparents are Palestinians. Mr. Dabdoub, good afternoon.
Afternoon, Mr. Richards. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Boy, the situation over in Gaza now, there is a what you call a ceasefire for the exchange of hostages. But tell me, what do you make of this entire situation, Mr. Dabdoub? How do you see it?
Well, the way I see it is, I think the way international law sees it, there is an occupation of Palestine, of Palestinian land. There is a system of segregation and apartheid practiced against the Palestinian peoples, and breaches of human rights. And all of this has been festering for 75, 80 years. It's interesting that you introduced me as a Jamaican of Palestinian descent, which I am. And when you said it, and you said our grandparents came from Palestine. On one side, my grandfather came, and on the other side, my mother was actually born there.
Okay.
And how my mother actually came to this side of the world is that her father used to live in Bethlehem, but he had a store in Jerusalem.
Okay.
And when Israel was formed, so to speak, in 48, apparently, and I didn't know, I thought the apartheid system is something new. What happened was he could not leave home to go to work in Jerusalem.
Wow.
So after...
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Yeah, so what happened is he was not able to go to work freely every day.
Yes.
Apparently he was issued a pass or something like that, which I thought is something fairly new in Palestine, but apparently it started years ago. So this is what led him to leave Palestine, because it was just not economically viable anymore. A man could not even go to work.
Yes.
So he left and came to this side of the world. And in my view, we use the word genocide and we think it means the killing of displacement, but you also have these instances of what I call subtle and institutionalized displacement, because
yes.
I would consider that to be an example of a subtle and institutionalized displacement. Yes. You frustrate a man.
Yes.
At some point, he might have to just pick up and say, pick me there in this environment, I gone.
Yes. Yes, I understand. And so that was how he came to this side of the world to start anew.
Exactly, to start, as a lot of Palestinians have.
Yes.
And you know what is quite funny is that I always grew up hearing the elders who came from over there saying, this is nothing to do with religion, you know. I used to play with Muslim children, I used to play with Jewish children. We are a Christian family.
Yes.
But the point is, all this religious war or a struggle based on religion and this painting of Palestinians as trying to be Islamic fundamentalists who want to take over Israel. It's totally wrong.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, lived well in Palestine. In fact, even to today in the Palestinian community, you don't hear of struggles between the Christians and the Muslims. And in fact, in a lot of the liberation movements, you have a lot of Christian Palestinians, you know.
Yes,
you
sir.
have like Hannah Ashrawi. I don't know if you remember that lady. She's a Christian. So it's not, certainly from the Palestinian side, it is a struggle for self-determination.
Yes.
A struggle for equal rights, a struggle for basic human rights and values.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with religion.
Yes, and one of the things that I find to be very strange is that both nations, it is obvious that Israeli should have their state, and the Palestinians should have their state. So here it is, you have two people who should have their own land. And I can't understand how the world powers, why they don't see that this is the correct way. Yes. One of the things I think is at stake here, though, Mr. Dabdoub, is that...
Richard.
Are you hearing me? Hello?
Yeah.
Let me, Mr. Dabdoub, let me call you straight, because I think I'm having some issues with the WhatsApp. Let me call you straight. Let us take a break, slight break. This is Rebel Radio. About the Middle East conflict. With us, we have Mr. Jalil Dabdoub with us. Mr. Dabdoub, as you were saying, I am saying that one of the issue, or one of the things I think here is at stake. You know, Gaza is sitting on some heavy deposits of of oil and gas. You know that?
Well, I have read of that, and I've also read of the plan to build an alternative route to the Mediterranean, yes, instead of the Suez Canal.
Right.
I have no knowledge of that, so to speak, other than what I read in the press. But it would not be surprising. I mean, most of these struggles sometimes are based on economics and geopolitics.
Yes.
But in this particular situation, I think the Palestinian issue goes deeper than economics.
Yes.
There is a very strong human rights abuse situation in those territories. If we even say Gaza is full of oil and natural gases and also required for this alternative to the Suez Canal, how does that explain what is happening in the West Bank?
Yes.
Because the West Bank, which is internationally declared to be a future Palestinian state, is funded by Israelis, by the Israeli government, who funds these settlers,
yes,
who literally move into people's homes and farms and at gunpoint take it over.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is 2023, you know.
Yes, sir.
One would have thought that after the brutal years of colonialism, when they did this in various West African states, and they did this in North America to the Native Americans, one would have thought the world learned a lesson.
Yes.
But this is like a cowboy and Indian story.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, I don't have no other way to describe it. 90% of Israelis, as far as I am seeing, are white, Eastern European immigrants. They have no connection to the land. And we have to sympathize with what the Jewish people went through in the late 30s and 40s with Nazism and all of that.
Yes.
There's no two ways about it.
Yes.
But I don't think the suffering of one people is a legitimate reason to institute suffering on another set of people.
Oh, no, sir. Not to be at all. Not to be. And then, sir, you must have observed the silence from the world powers, those Western nations. They are silent.
Yes, that is disappointing, and I tell you, I am an attorney. I was educated in the U.S., and I did a lot of reading on Western democracies and the Constitution of the U.S. and all of that. And in principle, these are very strong positions. I mean, the U.S. Constitution to me is a very good document. All men are created equal, born with certain inalienable rights. Think about that. But then think about how they apply it.
Yes, sir.
They don't seem to apply it on a basis of equality.
Not at all.
They seem to be applying it on the basis of what is it they perceive to be in their best interest.
Yes.
But I think the world's view has changed dramatically, maybe not that of the government, but the ordinary man on the road, whether it's in China, Africa, South America, Europe, you see the mass protests. And you see a lot of these people. I mean, people have been losing their work. A lot of famous Hollywood actors and actresses have lost their work for speaking out. I don't know if you've read about that.
Oh, no, I wasn't aware of that.
Yes, I was shocked. I mean, I don't know, Susan Sarandon, she spoke up. She lost her job. There are these two young actresses who are in some series. I don't remember if it's called Scream or Scream 2 or something. One of them spoke out and she lost her job, and her co-star came up and said, well, she gone too.
Yes.
Because she's not accepting it.
Yes.
So there seems to be almost an institutionalized movement to silence people who speak up.
Yes, sir. Yes. Now, locally, you would have seen that our government, they play that. They are silent too, because at the United Nations, when they were supposed to vote, they claimed that they were in consultation. I don't know with whom and for what. And that action by the government, as you know, it is a blot against Jamaica, because Jamaica, as you know, and my listeners and viewers know, that has always been on the front page when it comes on to the defense of rights and equality.
Yes, that is true. Traditionally, Jamaica is always at the forefront. I think we were one of the first, if not the first country, to put a trade embargo on South Africa under Norman Manley government in the 50s.
Yes.
And
yes.
Our position has never been changed despite a change of political parties in government.
No.
Because whether in the 70s and 80s, when I was a little boy, whether it was Michael Manley or Edward Thiago, our position was always the same on the South African issue.
Yes, sir.
And I don't recall Western powers able to bend any of those two gentlemen, if you remember.
No, they were not.
They were not the type to kowtow to anything except what was right and correct.
Right.
But I don't know what this government's position really is.
Well,
they seem to be changing the traditional Jamaican position on the issue, in my opinion.
Yes. Well, I think also that this government have some special relations with the Israeli government that we are not aware of. All we know that the Prime Minister visited Israel, and to date we have not been told what was the purpose of that visit.
I've been reading that as well.
Yes, and I see where, and you would have seen it yourself, where that an Israeli company was, and this is recently now, awarded a contract to provide services to our electoral machinery.
Yes, I saw that it was in the press last week, I believe.
Yes, yes. And, you know, we don't know what is the relationship, what's the nature of the relationship between both governments. But as you indicated, and we have seen for ourselves, that this government has changed our traditional position when it comes down to in defense of human rights.
Yeah, I don't know what is their thought process, yes, but you are correct. The fact that they have taken these new positions in regard to Israel, and the fact that there seem to be some kind of relationship, it leaves them in a position where they have a lot of questions to answer.
Yes. Yes, sir. Certainly. Certainly. You would have seen and aware of that there is a meeting. A pro-Israeli organization has planned a meeting for Wednesday. This is in support of the Israeli, and I see where those who are invited are specially invited, and no children, I understand, are supposed to attend. And you would have, based on how I see, this is a special meeting to support Israel. You heard about it?
I heard about it, and I read the invite, and I would say that everybody should pray for peace, yes, not just in Israel, but in Palestine.
Yes.
What concerns me is what I read in terms of the purpose of that meeting, and it speaks to the lack of balance in this conflict between the Zionist movement and the Palestinian people. The first thing is, I notice it says that we stand in solidarity with Israel and offer prayers for the first return of hostages and honor the memory of 1,400 innocent Israelis tragically lost to the barbaric terrorist act by Hamas.
Yes.
We should all pray for the return of all hostages, not just Israeli hostages.
Yes.
There are a lot of hundreds, thousands of Palestinians, including children, yes, and women, imprisoned,
yes,
with no charge,
yes,
in solitary confinement. We should be praying for them too.
Yes.
We should be praying for the 1,400 innocent Israeli civilians killed. But we should be praying for the 20,000 Palestinian civilians killed.
Yes.
So if we want peace, it should be a unified prayer for peace, and not a prayer that seems to value one set of lives more than another set of lives. And I will tell you that from my perspective as a Jamaican of Palestinian descent, when I read to be attended by government officials, a prayer in solidarity with Israel, is my government telling me that they are in solidarity with the bombing of my ancestral home? Is that what Andrew Holness and his people are telling me? Because they could never be serious.
Well, sir,
It could never be serious, Mr. Richard.
When I read it, when I read it, I said, this is another piece of evidence that the government has departed from our traditional ways. Because let us see. I want to see how many government ministers and who are the officials who are going to attend this function.
I would love to see it too, and I will tell you something. The leader of a multicultural society like Jamaica in a conflict which is not complicated, this is a simple conflict with a community of persons who have an interest in that conflict, should never be doing anything except two things. One, follow international law, and two, I can promise you if I was Prime Minister of Jamaica and I get invited to that, I would be saying, can we have the Palestinian community here as well? Mm-hmm. Because we don't want that division here. Mm-hmm. And we're going to pray together for both communities because Jamaica value all lives and all human rights.
Yes, sir. Of course.
So it does leave a bitter taste in my mouth. And I hope that that's a misprint and there is no government official going there.
Well, let us watch and see. But you would have observed that a number of countries have suspended diplomatic relations with Israel. You think we should follow suit?
I think we should, and in fact, I have been asking various persons who sit in the House to consider it and to put that before the House, because Jamaica needs a recalibration of our stance on these human rights issues. Yes. And the last 2 or 3 votes that came up on the issue, the current government, I think, took us away from our traditional stance, and maybe a strong statement from the government of Jamaica, including the breaking of diplomatic ties if necessary,
yes,
would go a long way in recalibrating it. Plus, we're really lacking the leadership here that we once had, you know. Once upon a time, Michael Manley was the leader of the Caribbean. I mean, as a little boy, and I remember that.
Yes.
So was Thiago. Yes. Right now, we have Mia Matley taking the charge in Barbados.
Yes.
And Belize did the same. I don't know if you read Belize's statement 2-3 weeks ago.
Yes. Yes. I saw it.
That's a big talk from a little nation.
Yes.
And there is no reason Jamaica, who carries more clout in the Caribbean than these other countries, should not have taken the same position and be equally as strong.
I think so too, sir. I think that's what should be done. But based on what we have seen so far, we haven't seen any evidence from the government that it intends to go that route at all.
No, in fact, I have, in my view, seen where the opposition have taken a stronger position.
Yes.
I mean, I think Mr. Golding has 2 or 3 times spoken out about it. And let us be fair, he is not in government at this time.
No.
And I would have thought that if the opposition speak out about it, at least the government should take the cue.
Yes, sir.
But it's almost like Mr. Golding offering us more leadership at this time than the current PM.
Yes. We're definitely not getting what we are accustomed to. We're not getting we're not getting that at all. And I just can't see why this government and other governments cannot see the brutality from the Israelis against civilians, and why they can't see the infringement of basic human rights. Why are they blinded their eyes to that? These people are human beings just like we. And when you have a government bombing hospitals, bombing the place like that, destroying people, people are suffering. I wonder if them understand how people must be suffering in Gaza. I wonder if they understand that.
I don't know, but the images that come out of there is mad. It's similar to, I don't know if you've been following what's going on in Congo.
Yes, also, yes.
I mean, it's unbelievable, these little children, how they treat them in Congo.
Yeah.
Just to get some little dirt to make a cell phone or a computer microchip.
Yeah.
I don't know where the humanity is, but I would say that as it relates to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, there is genuinely an outlook from a lot of the Western nations, and particularly a lot of Israelis, who don't value a Palestinian life.
Yes.
Whether you are Muslim, Christian, or Jew, they don't value Palestinian lives.
Yes.
And another thing that a lot of people in the world don't know, there are a lot of Palestinian Jews, you know, and a lot of Jews that support Palestine, and they'll tell you, we were here living with these people for hundreds of years.
Yes, sir.
And you people come from Europe, come create chaos.
Boy.
But it is no different from colonialism of 300 years ago, you know.
No, sir. No.
I don't think it's much different.
No, it is not.
You come, you find a plot of land, you want it, you have more gun, you have more money,
yes.
And you run the people who are there.
Yes. I know that one group, Lands, I think, had a protest about 2 weeks ago, calling for the freedom of Palestine. But what are you planning? Are you planning something, some form of, say, a vigil this week?
Well, we would love to have something. I mean, it's a discussion that is being had, but nothing concrete has been put in place yet.
Yes.
But Lands did do that march for Palestine that you spoke about.
Yes.
And it was. I went there. I was surprised how well attended it was.
Yes.
And I wanted to say that despite our government's approach, I am totally surprised at the empathy of the Jamaican people. Everywhere I go, that anybody knows I'm Palestinian or them know you're a Jamaican Arab,
yes.
Somebody has something to tell me. From Mr. Dabdoub, your family over there? Mm-hmm. Is your people that?
Yes.
What a thing I go on there. I don't agree with it at all.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So, as a Jamaican of Palestinian descent, despite the behavior or actions of my government, it's still heartwarming to know that the people, because the people you have to live amongst,
of course,
have humanity in them.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I don't think we as a people can stomach it. I don't think anybody can stomach it. But given our history, I mean, Jamaican people have been through hell. I mean, let's not forget, we are a nation descended from colonialism, brutal slavery. So when you are coming from that background, these kind of things are going to rub you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. In the right way.
No, sir.
And maybe 300 years ago, they didn't have live TV. Mm-hmm. Like Mia Motley said the other day, this is the first televised genocide the world has ever experienced.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Well, let us say, I want to say and assure you that Rebel Radio, this platform is a platform that is totally against what is happening in Israel. Totally. I have been watching this situation for many years. Yes. One name that remains in my mind, stand out in my mind, is Yasser Arafat. I will never forget that name. Never. Right? And I want to say that this vigil, we will do whatever we can to organize a vigil for Wednesday to counter that pro-Israeli function. So let us stay in touch and put whatever resources we have to organize a peaceful vigil this Wednesday. And,
because I agree. I think all people want this to come to an end.
Yes.
And there should be no more Israeli lives lost, no more Palestinian lives lost.
Yes.
And I think at some point, and you alluded to it, the Western powers, because that's where the answer lies. At some point, they are going to have to say to the Israeli government, look here, you are breaching every international law, and until you respect these people's rights, you will never be able to have a negotiated settlement with them. You need to understand their rights, and they need to understand yours.
Of course.
Otherwise, two parties, if each person doesn't understand what the rights of the other is, then how are you going to have a negotiation?
No, sir, it won't.
I think that's what they did.
Yes.
I think that's what they did to the Palestinian movement.
Yes.
You mentioned Mr. Arafat.
Yes.
And I just want to close by saying that when they had the Oslo Peace Accords, and I don't know if you recall, the PLO gave up armed resistance.
Yes, sir. Yes.
They gave it up
yes.
in exchange for the Oslo Accords
yes.
and to have a state, etc. Yeah. The Israelis honored nothing on that part.
No.
In fact, they said the PLO is not a partner for peace, and what they did instead was to help build up Hamas and then try to use Hamas to divide and rule the Palestinian people.
Yes, of course.
Which is the traditional colonial mentality.
Yeah.
Divide and rule.
Yes.
They did it to India when they split India and Pakistan.
Yes.
Try and split the Indian Muslims from the Indian Hindus. They did it in Bangladesh. Yes. They did it in South Africa.
Yes.
And it's like them don't understand. You keep doing it over and over and it's not working. Find another solution.
Well, the mentality in Israel, sir, is to wipe out Hamas. That is the thinking inside the Israeli cabinet.
I think that's what we are hearing.
Yes.
But this is not a wipeout of Hamas. This is a wipeout of an entire society.
Yes.
You are talking about, and I am referring to CNN reports,
yes,
which is mostly pro-Israeli. You are talking about cleaning out an entire family.
Yes.
Father, grandfather, it's like they just clean out an entire family line. That's genocide.
Yes, sir.
They target journalists.
Yes.
Journalists, you know.
Yes.
And their families. That is genocide.
Up to last week, 54 were killed.
Yes. So what they do, this is not collateral damage. This is not indiscriminate bombing. They are targeting the fabric of Palestinian society in Gaza.
Yes.
So that when this is over, it can never be rebuilt.
That is the intention.
Of course, that is the intention. And then when they're telling you why Egypt and Jordan don't take them, since them love them so much, why don't they take them? Mr. Richards, if a man come in your house and take it over, and I tell you, come live with me, what kind of friend am I to you?
That's a nonsensical argument, man.
Of course it is.
The people must have access to their own land. But take what? What do you mean take? Take from where? Let us, as I said, sir, I want to thank you for the time, and I want you to know that we will continue talking about this event. And
all right. And I appreciate the time.
Yes, sir.
To share my perspective.
Yes.
Thanks a lot. All the best to you on your show, Mr. Richards.
Have a good evening, sir.
Thank you.
Yes. That was Mr. Jalil Dabdoub. Yes, and as you heard, we were talking about the Middle East conflict, what is happening to those people in Gaza, the Palestinians. Let us take a break. This is Rebel Radio.